Well, certainly for the Australians, it's very significant. It's only the fifth president in history to come here. And for a nation of 22 million people, they're extremely flattered. It's third time lucky. President Obama called off twice, once to deal with the Gulf of Mexico oil spillage and once to deal with his healthcare reforms in Washington. So the Australians were a little bit peeved about that, but now third time lucky is here. And the attention really is switching from the trade and commerce talks he was having at APEC to security. President Obama is here to talk not only about trade, but also about security cooperation with Australia, with a view to increasing the numbers of American troops that pass through here, all part of the American attempts to increase its influence in the region as he sees it with the rise of China. He wants Australia and various other nations on board to meet that challenge of the future.
Indeed, you mentioned the rise of China there. How does this, closer military ties between Australia and the US complicate matters with China, which is, after all, Australia's largest trading partner?
It is $60 billion worth of exports to China last year for Australia. China has become its #1 export market, overtaking Japan and the United States. Australia is in a very difficult, potentially difficult position. It's a victim or beneficiary of its geographic position. On the one hand, it has China as this economic ally. On the other hand, it still needs those security guarantees from Washington to see its way forward in terms of its strategic position in the region. But yes, Australia plays a very interesting set of cards in this whole deal. It needs to keep both sides on side. It sees itself in some ways as a power broker between them. For the United States, the whole reason for being here is to bolster ties not only with Australia, but with other nations in the region like Vietnam and Thailand. And the United States also not only has military reasons behind it, it also is interested in trade, in particular with the trade that travels through the South China Sea, which potentially it sees as a conflict point of the future. $5 trillion worth of trade passes through the South China Sea. China sees it as its home territory, but the Americans are saying, by visits to Australia and elsewhere, no, we too have interests in this region and we will pursue them.